Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're tackling something really vital for any organization wanting to make an impact: how you actually set up and manage social media effectively.
Yeah, and we're using a great guide as our starting point. It's from the Southern Africa Litigation Centre, SALC, and it's aimed at community-based organizations, CBOs.
Right. But the advice is pretty universal, I think. What's interesting is how different organizational social media is from, your personal stuff.
Totally different. It's not just casual updates. It's about building a deliberate digital presence that really serves your mission.
Exactly. So our goal here is to dig into this SALC guidance, pull out the core steps, the main things to consider.
Basically, actionable insights for anyone listening, whether you're just starting or maybe looking to improve what you're already doing.
Okay, let's jump right in. First hurdle: picking the right name. It sounds simple, but maybe it's not.
Well, SALC makes a really good point distinguishing between a personal handle and an organizational one. Your organization's name needs to scream brand and purpose.
It needs to reflect what you do.
Precisely. Think of it as your, digital front door. What does it say about you?
And they stress keeping it short, memorable. Makes sense. Easier to find, easier to tag.
Reduces friction, definitely. You want people to recall it easily.
Then they have this really handy checklist. First up, know your audience. Where do the people you want to reach actually hang out online?
Seems basic, right. But honestly, organizations sometimes miss this. Why be on a platform if your target audience isn't even there?
Good point. And tied to that is availability. Is the name you want actually free?
And does it really fit? Does it align with your work, your image? You might love a name, but if it's taken or doesn't match the vibe?
Back to the drawing board. What if it's super similar to another organization's name?
Yeah, the guide asks how you'll stand out then. Differentiation is key.
Is it your logo, your bio, the kind of stuff you post?
Exactly. You need something to make you recognizable in a potentially crowded space. Avoid that confusion.
Then there's using the same handle everywhere. Seems small, but important.
Oh, massively important. Consistency builds that brand recognition. Makes it super easy for people to find you on whatever platform they prefer.
And the last checklist point: link everything back to your main website and have a clear, concise bio.
Yeah, create that web. Someone finds you on Twitter, they can easily click through to your site, understand the bigger picture, makes it seamless.
Okay, so you've got the perfect name. Nailed it. What's next? Getting people to actually follow you, growing that audience.
Right, this is where the strategy deepens. SALC points out, quite rightly, that every platform is different. It has its own culture, its own tools.
What works on, say, Twitter might totally fall flat on LinkedIn.
Exactly. You need to understand those nuances. You can't just copy-paste content everywhere and expect it to work. You have to adapt.
And they talk about metrics, not just follower counts, right?
Definitely not just vanity metrics. We're talking about insights. Tracking your growth, sure, but also the impact of your posts. When are people most engaged?
What kind of content actually gets them talking or sharing?
Precisely. And setting actual goals for these metrics, like aiming for a certain engagement rate. It gives you something concrete to measure against.
Helps you know if you're actually hitting the mark. Otherwise, you're just sort of guessing.
You're flying blind, yeah. Understanding those numbers helps you create more of what works, which leads to their point about making content shareable.
You want people to feel good about passing it on, right? Confident in sharing it with their own networks.
And sparking discussion. That's gold.
I also like their point about language. Keep it simple, inviting. Avoid alienating people.
And crucially, don't get drawn into online fights, even if someone disagrees with you. It just undermines your credibility.
Build community. Don't tear it down. Foster that trust.
Which all ties into having a proper social media strategy. It's not just posting whenever.
You need goals, a plan, knowing why you're posting something. Every post should have a purpose.
Right. And SALC gives 6 sort of key tips for profile growth, which are pretty practical.
Okay, let's hear them.
First one, have fun. Use relevant pop culture, memes sometimes. It makes the organization feel more human, more relatable.
Yeah, I like that. Breaks down barriers. What's number 2?
Share content from other accounts. Show you're part of the wider conversation. Connect with related topics and communities.
So it's not just all about you all the time.
Exactly. Tip 3, ask engaging questions. Get people talking. Gauge opinions.
Turns it from a broadcast into a conversation. Smart.
Number 4 is about creating genuinely useful, interesting content. Stuff that helps people or makes them think, beyond just plugging your own work.
Provide real value. Okay, what's 5? This one sounded a bit more technical.
Yeah, aggregating content on your website using hashtags. It's basically about monitoring the conversation around your topics, using tools to pull in posts related to your work, even if they don't mention you directly.
So it's like digital listening, keeping an ear to the ground.
Exactly. And finally, tip 6, keep interacting. As you grow, don't lose that personal touch. Engage with comments, answer questions.
Don't let your audience feel ignored. Maintain that connection. Okay, so that covers naming, growing. What about the day-to-day engagement, best practices there?
Well, this is about actively using social media as that tool for engagement and promotion, making it work for your mandate.
And the SALC mentioned specific tools that help, like scheduling tools.
Absolutely. Scheduling tools are lifesavers. Plan content ahead, maintain consistency even when you're swamped. Huge help.
Keeps the presence steady. They also mention organic posting, just your regular stuff versus paid ads.
Right. You need a strategy for both. Your everyday content builds community, but sometimes paid ads can help you reach a specific, wider audience for key campaigns or messages.
And analytics again, tracking performance.
Always. It's fundamental. You have to keep checking what's working, what's not, which platforms are delivering for you, and be ready to adjust.
It really highlights how important proper social media management is.
Definitely. SALC frames it as ensuring every post contributes to awareness, interest, engagement. It's strategic.
It's not just busy work, it's tied to the organization's goals.
Exactly. It's about making sure your online efforts actually align with your overall objectives.
So how do you manage it practically? The guide suggests some options.
Yeah, like using dedicated social media manager tools. There are lots out there that can streamline things.
Or, if you can, hiring someone, a dedicated social media person or team.
That can be a real game changer, having that focused expertise. It is a specialized skill set.
They also had a really practical, maybe surprising tip, using a separate phone just for work social media.
Yeah, helps with focus, prevents accidentally posting personal stuff to the org account, creates a clear boundary.
Good idea. And creating a consistent brand look with templates.
Oh, yes. Reusable templates save so much time and ensure everything looks professional and cohesive, reinforces your brand identity visually.
And it all circles back, again, to tracking those analytics, measuring impact.
Always be measuring. Always be learning from the data. That's how you refine and improve.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. Key takeaways from this SALC guide seem to be: start with smart strategic naming.
Understand the platforms you're using, track your metrics diligently, create content that actually engages people and provides value.
Interact actively with your community, don't just broadcast.
And really invest in proper management, using the right tools and practices.
It's a pretty comprehensive picture. Which leads to a final thought for you listening.
Yeah?
Just consider how consistently applying these things could really shift your organization's online presence. Imagine it moving from just a profile page to, like, an active hub, a place for real connection and impact.
And think about what unexpected things you might learn just by paying close attention to how your audience interacts with you online. What insights are waiting there?
It's an ongoing process, really. Learning, connecting, adapting.